The atmosphere on the Today Show was supposed to be cheerful. The set glowed with bright lights, the audience applauded warmly, and host Hoda Kotb beamed with her signature energy as she welcomed Hollywood star Mark Wahlberg to the stage. It was meant to be a light, fun segment, promoting Wahlberg's latest film, a new action comedy that had audiences buzzing. But within minutes, the interview took a sharp, unexpected turn, leaving viewers stunned as tension erupted between the actor and the host in one of the most talked about live TV moments of the year. At first, everything seemed perfectly normal. Mark arrived on set in a crisp jacket, smiling as he hugged Hoda and co-hosts. The two shared laughs about his early career, his intense workout routine, and his faith-driven lifestyle. Wahlberg has always been known for his discipline, his straightforward nature, and his no-nonsense attitude, qualities that often make his interviews interesting but sometimes unpredictable. The energy was good, and the audience was fully engaged. Then, as the conversation moved toward more personal territory, the tone began to shift. Hoda asked about how Mark balances his Hollywood career with his spiritual beliefs and his family life. Mark responded confidently, saying that faith and structure were central to who he was. But Hoda pressed further, asking, "Some people say you've become less approachable, that your faith and discipline make you seem a little intense. What do you think about that?" Mark paused for a moment, clearly taken aback. He chuckled dryly before replying, "Well, I don't really care what people say. I live my life the way I'm supposed to. I'm not here to please everyone." The audience gave a small, awkward laugh. Hoda, trying to keep things light, smiled and said, of course, but you know what I mean. You've been known to be a perfectionist. Do you ever think that makes it hard for people around you?" The question didn't land well. Wahlberg leaned back, his expression tightening. "Look," he said, his tone sharpening, "I work hard. I expect a lot from myself and the people I work with. That's not being hard to be around, that's being professional." Hoda tried to steer the conversation back toward the movie, but it was too late. The mood on set had shifted. Mark, clearly frustrated, crossed his arms and added, "You know, sometimes these interviews focus more on how I live than on what I'm here to talk about. Maybe let's talk about the film, not my personality." The crowd fell silent. Hoda looked momentarily stunned but kept her composure. "Of course, Mark," she said with a tight smile. "Let's talk about the movie." But even as she transitioned, Mark interrupted her. "Because honestly," he said, his voice firm, "I'm here because of the work. I don't need to justify who I am every time I come on this show." The tension was unmistakable. The air in the studio grew heavy. For a man known for his charm and confidence, this was a rare moment of visible irritation. Hoda tried to smooth things over, saying gently, "You know we love having you here. We're just asking what everyone's curious about. People admire how focused you are." But Mark wasn't backing down. "There's a difference between admiration and interrogation," he said, glancing toward the production crew. The audience gave an uneasy chuckle, unsure whether to laugh or stay quiet. Hoda, clearly uncomfortable but professional, tried one more time to lighten the mood. "Fair enough," she said. "Let's focus on the movie. Tell us what drew you to this role." Mark leaned forward, exhaled sharply, and gave a quick summary of the film, his tone clipped but controlled. When the segment finally cut to a commercial break, the studio audience clapped politely. Though the applause felt forced. Cameras stopped rolling, but the tension didn't fade. According to several sources who were present backstage, Wahlberg stood up immediately after the break and muttered something under his breath before walking off toward his dressing room. Hoda, visibly shaken, reportedly asked producers, "Did I say something wrong?" Crew members tried to reassure her that she had handled the situation gracefully. One staff member later told a reporter, "It just escalated really fast. You could feel his frustration building. It wasn't Hoda's fault. She was just doing her job." Within hours, clips from the live segment flooded social media. The moment when Mark raised his voice began circulating under hashtags like #MarkWahlbergMeltdown and #TodayShowDrama. Fans quickly took sides. Some criticized Wahlberg's reaction, calling it unprofessional and arrogant. Others defended him, saying he had every right to be tired of intrusive questions. One fan tweeted, "Mark's human. If you're asked the same personal questions every time, you'd snap too. By afternoon, the story was everywhere, from entertainment blogs to major outlets like People, Variety, and Deadline. Analysts dissected every second of the exchange, debating whether Wahlberg had been provoked or simply lost his temper. A spokesperson for NBC issued a brief statement saying, "We have nothing but respect for Mark Wahlberg and appreciate his time on the Today Show. Live television can be unpredictable, but we value our guests and their stories." Later that evening, Wahlberg's publicist released a comment as well. "Mark is passionate and deeply committed to his values. He stands by what he said but regrets if the exchange came across as disrespectful. He appreciates Hoda and the Today team for having him." Still, the public was fascinated. On talk radio and podcasts, commentators analyzed the deeper meaning behind the clash. Some argued that Mark's reaction reflected a broader frustration many celebrities feel about being judged for their personal beliefs. Others thought it revealed how hard it is for stars to balance authenticity with the pressures of media appearances. The next morning, Hoda addressed the moment with her trademark grace. On air, she smiled and said, "Yesterday got a little intense, didn't it? But hey, that's live TV. We love Mark, and we know he's passionate. We wish him the best on his movie." The audience applauded warmly, and the show moved on. Interestingly, the controversy didn't hurt Wahlberg's image. If anything, it added to his reputation as a no-nonsense, unapologetic figure in Hollywood. His fans admired him for standing his ground. "That's why we like Mark," one viewer posted. "He's not fake. He speaks his mind." In the following week, Wahlberg appeared on another morning show, where the host cautiously asked about the Today incident. Mark laughed it off, saying, "You know, sometimes things get a little heated. I've got nothing but love for Hoda. She's great. We're all good." His easy humor seemed to diffuse any lingering tension, and even Hoda's co-hosts later confirmed that there were no hard feelings. Behind the scenes, producers admitted it was one of the most memorable live moments of the year, uncomfortable but unforgettable. One NBC executive said privately, "That's the risk with live TV. You want real emotion, but when it happens, it's hard to control." In the end, the eruption became less about conflict and more about authenticity. Mark Wahlberg's moment of frustration reminded viewers that even the most polished stars can have raw, unguarded reactions. And Hoda Kotb's calm, professional handling of the situation only strengthened her reputation as one of television's most composed and compassionate hosts. For fans and viewers alike, it was a rare glimpse behind the curtain, two real people, navigating the unpredictable terrain of live television. And while the clash may have started in tension, it ended as a testament to what makes moments like these so powerful: honesty, humanity, and the unpredictable spark of reality that no script can ever replicate. The dust hadn't even settled when social media exploded with theories, opinions, and heated debates about Mark Wahlberg's fiery exchange with Hoda Kotb. Within hours, the clip had spread across every major platform. Fans replayed the tense moment in slow motion, dissecting facial expressions, tone, and every word exchanged. The internet, as always, had turned into a courtroom of public opinion. Some fans saw Wahlberg's reaction as a rare glimpse of unfiltered honesty in an industry obsessed with politeness. "That's what I love about Mark," one post read. "He doesn't fake it for cameras. He stands up for himself." Others weren't so forgiving. "He's on national television," another user wrote. "You don't blow up on Hoda Kotb of all people. She's America's sweetheart." The debate drew millions of views, with hashtags like #Wahlberg vs Hoda and #Today Show Clash trending for 2 straight days. Inside NBC's Rockefeller Center studio, staff members described the aftermath as tense but professional. According to insiders, Hoda left the set quietly after the segment ended, visibly shaken but determined to finish the morning show with grace. "She took a deep breath and just kept going," one crew member said. "That's Hoda. Calm under pressure." Producers immediately met to discuss how to handle the situation. One insider revealed that a few team members wanted to cut the replay of the interview from later broadcasts, but executives decided transparency was best. The episode aired again in full during the afternoon rebroadcast. Later that afternoon, Hoda reportedly sent a private message to Wahlberg through a mutual contact, assuring him there were no hard feelings, and that she understood how emotions could run high in live conversations. Wahlberg, according to a close friend, appreciated the gesture and sent back a brief reply, "All good. Respect always." It was a small but meaningful exchange that helped ease tensions before the headlines could spiral further. Meanwhile, Hollywood insiders chimed in. A veteran entertainment publicist told Variety, "This wasn't about ego. It was about two strong personalities colliding under pressure. Wahlberg's intensity is part of his brand, and Hoda's warmth is part of hers. Sometimes those worlds just don't mix smoothly." The following morning, the Today Show opened with a lighthearted tone, but everyone in the studio could feel the residual buzz from the previous day. Hoda addressed the incident briefly during the opening minutes, smiling as she said, "We had a passionate conversation yesterday. That's what happens when you're talking to people who care deeply about what they do. We love Mark and wish him the best." Her words were met with loud applause, and co-host Savannah Guthrie nodded in agreement, adding, "That's what makes live TV exciting, it's real." Wahlberg, on the other hand, maintained his silence for nearly 48 hours before speaking about the confrontation during a podcast interview. When asked about what happened, he chuckled and said, "Man, sometimes I get a little fired up. Hoda's great. She asked a tough question, and I probably overreacted. We've all been there." His tone was calm, self-aware, and even humorous, instantly diffusing the lingering drama. Fans appreciated the humility, and the comment quickly became one of the most shared clips of the week. Entertainment journalists praised how both stars handled the aftermath. One columnist for Entertainment Weekly wrote, "What could have been a media feud turned into a masterclass in professionalism." Wahlberg owned his reaction, and Hoda responded with empathy. It's a rare moment of accountability in modern celebrity culture. Behind the scenes, NBC executives saw the controversy as a mixed blessing. The segment had driven record-high ratings, drawing millions of new viewers, but the network was cautious not to appear exploitative. "We never want conflict," an NBC spokesperson said. "But authenticity resonates with audiences, and that's exactly what this was, authentic." By the end of the week, both sides had publicly moved on. Wahlberg appeared on The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, where Jimmy jokingly asked, "So, any chance you'll come back to The Today Show soon?" Mark laughed, replying, "Hey, I love those guys, maybe next time we'll stick to talking about the movie." The audience roared with laughter, and the lighthearted response finally put the incident to rest. Still, the moment lingered in pop culture discussions. Analysts noted that Wahlberg's eruption symbolized something deeper, the tension between celebrity authenticity and media scrutiny. One entertainment psychologist told People magazine, "We expect celebrities to be endlessly composed, but we also want them to be real. Those two expectations often collide, and what happened on the Today Show is a perfect example." For Hoda Kotb, the event reinforced her reputation as one of TV's most graceful hosts. Her calm handling of the situation earned widespread praise from colleagues and viewers alike. "She didn't flinch, didn't escalate," said one longtime producer. "She showed exactly why people trust her. She stays kind even when things get uncomfortable." Meanwhile, Wahlberg's fanbase remained fiercely loyal. Sales for his latest film surged that weekend, and social media sentiment gradually shifted in his favor. Supporters admired how he addressed the situation directly instead of letting PR teams spin it for him. "That's classic Mark," one fan wrote. "Own it, move on, keep working hard." In a later interview with Access Hollywood, Wahlberg reflected on the lesson he took from the confrontation. "You learn to breathe before reacting," he said with a smile. "I'm passionate, and sometimes that passion gets misread. But at the end of the day, I've got nothing but respect for Hoda and the Today family." His words cemented the sense of closure both sides had already found privately. As weeks passed, the clip became less a source of controversy and more a viral symbol of human imperfection. Fans began remixing it with humorous captions and edits, turning what was once an awkward moment into harmless internet entertainment. Even Hoda joined in the fun, referencing the incident months later during a light segment about celebrity mishaps. "At least no one stormed off this time," she joked, earning laughter from her co-hosts. Ultimately, what could have been a PR disaster evolved into a surprisingly human story about respect, humility, and the pressures of constant visibility. Wahlberg's moment of frustration revealed his intensity, while Hoda's calm underscored her professionalism. Together, Their interaction reminded audiences that live television isn't just about promotion, it's about people. In an era where so much of celebrity media feels staged, this unscripted clash stood out precisely because it wasn't perfect. It was two individuals, one fiery, one composed, navigating an uncomfortable truth in real time. And perhaps that's why viewers couldn't look away. By the time both returned to their respective projects, the world had already moved on. Wahlberg's film became a box office hit, and The Today Show continued as one of America's morning staples. Yet, for many, that brief on-air confrontation remained a reminder that authenticity, even when messy, is what truly keeps audiences watching. Because sometimes, the most unforgettable moments on live TV aren't scripted smiles or rehearsed answers, they're the raw flashes of emotion that remind us all we're human.